all you can eat, so I'm just there for the food. It better be Knott's Berry Farm fried chicken.
I heard they have good fried chicken.
I know.
And that's a stereotype. And I love fried chicken, and I love me some watermelon too.
So do I.
Bad mommy.
The whole race thing is so hard for me because I know that it affects the kids a lot because they're mixed.
Yeah.
With Black, and then I'm mixed, Japanese and Portuguese, but my mixture isn't. I don't think that whatever experiences I've had probably aren't the same as what they go through. So I can't walk in their shoes, but I know that they have their own struggles. As I wish I could just change things.
Yeah, it's interesting, the whole thing about race, because my stepmother, she did her DNA test recently, and she was not happy with the results. So she grew up. Her family they're from Louisiana. So when you see them, they look like they're Creole Blacks, and which are basically mixed with French and just white and Black and whatever that whole Louisiana Creole thing is. So they grew up in East Oakland, her and her siblings. There were 4 of them. So the way that I understand the story, they were somewhat passing when they first got to Oakland because they're very light skinned. From what I understand, they were passing with the first 2 kids. And then she came along and she was the dark one, and they couldn't they couldn't fake the funk anymore. So they grew up in Oakland. East Oakland turns Black. She's raised as they raised like Black folks in East Oakland, right? And the mother, she was very active in the Black Panther Party and everything. So she's like having this experience being a black woman. Her daughter's father's Black. She marries my dad, raises Black kids and everything. And so I guess she did her DNA. And when she spoke about it, she was like, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm not who I think I am. And I was like, so what's your percentage? Did you even get up to a quarter? She said, no. I was like,
part?
Right. It
was not even a quarter?
No, it's not even a quarter.
Oh, wow.
I didn't want to ask her how low it was, but she was just like, she's like, I just threw it in the drawer and just forget about it. It's just interesting, that whole concept of which was a white man's construct, that whole one drop of Black blood makes you Black. And then you put on this whole, you make people forced to choose sides. They're forced to choose a race. So if you're a quadroon, which is 1/4 Black, or an octoroon, 1/8 Black, those were considered Black people back in the old days. But if you look at it from a mathematical standpoint, if they're only 1/4 Black or 1/8 Black, are you Black? And then there was a stigma put on those that tried to pass. Ooh, look at them, they trying to pass. Who said that they have to be Black because they have 1/16 Black?
I know. That would, because my dad's DNA has African in it too, but it's such a small percentage that they wouldn't even know without a DNA test back in the day.
Exactly. So there's probably a bunch of white people walking around that have Black blood in them from back in the day.
Yeah.
Because many of those mixed folks were able to cross over and breed white. And when we were talking about this, because some of the children, like her brothers, my stepmom's brother, he passed, but he passed after he got separated from his wife, who was a Black woman. But the kids, they're in Missouri, and they're marrying white. So their kids are eventually gonna breed out, breed to the white side if they stay in Missouri and in that environment. So it's just interesting how America forced those racial constructs on groups of people to make them feel guilty about choosing one aspect of their culture versus the other. Like because you have a drop or quarter Black or eighth Black, you have to claim Black.
Right.
It's and like then
there's so many other nice cultures that are intertwined with, because there's so many cultures just from Africa. If you think of all the countries there, so many different things. And I think that's what's missing here, is embracing all those differences.
Right.
Instead of trying to identify with something. And just, I don't know, it's hard to put into words. There's just so many aspects of race is so shallow.
I know. Race is the mechanics of it. It's your DNA. It's like you have no control over that.
Yeah.
But how you grow up or the behaviors that you choose to adopt, from the people around you, that's what makes you the interesting person that you are.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for white people who identify with Black culture, like on a spiritual level, and like they want to be around Black culture, and they want to, usually if you admire something, you want to emulate it. But then those whites get ostracized for emulating a culture that is oppressed, because then you run that risk of appropriating the culture for your benefit, for the benefit.
Yeah. I was watching a YouTube video about that, where the guy was comparing transgender men who are transgender to women, and comparing white people who trans race, I forgot the term he used, but become or try to be Black. So it was just an argument which one is worse. He said that the race one doesn't really make a lot of sense, because it's not something you're born with. You're not born feeling, oh, I'm Black. He said that's something you kind of learn as you get older, but transgender people are kind of born with that sense where I don't feel like a man, I should be a woman kind of thing. So that's more of innate things. Like he said, the privilege of a white person to just, if you don't like it anymore, you can just go back to being white again.
Yeah. That's the part that's the rub with it. Is that's the part that makes it not easily acceptable.
Yeah.
Because they can go back to just being generic white and no one will be the wiser.
But I wonder if that's just a phenomenon here in the United States. Do people go through that in other countries, or is that like an American thing?
I don't know.
Because I see people all over the world that want to emulate Black culture.
I know.
Not even the color, but hip hop, you know, everywhere.
So then at what point is it race? And then at what delineates it being racial versus just the cultural aspect of that particular race, where it becomes behavior of a type of a group of people? And, not necessarily tied to race, but just a love of whether it be hip hop or art. There's there's the artsy type people, there's the bohemian type people, there's the hippie type people, there's the reggae type people, there's the, so that has nothing to do with race. It's the people who like to skate, there's the people, who like to go to raves. So it's like, at what point?
Even religious. There's religion.
Yeah. So at what point is it race? When does it not be about race, but more so about a common love of a certain type of set of behaviors?
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who like to emulate Japanese culture. They like karate and all that stuff. There's people that love that stuff. So
so it's like, what if Chinese start going up to Black folks saying, you can't have those characters on your arm, those are Chinese characters? Because it was kind of like a thing, you get your Chinese characters, and you get your little tattoo with your Chinese characters. It was like you admired the style of the characters. And what if Asian people started saying, you can't do that, you're Asian, you're appropriating our culture.
Maybe there's a difference between culture and looks, like trying to darken your skin and all that. That's kind of weird.
That is weird. Yeah, I agree with you there. It's like, if you're gonna emulate the culture, just stay yourself. Like,
Yeah,
whoever,
exactly.
however your natural tendencies, be yourself. Don't try to like darken your skin.
Turn into, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got on the Black side that whole warped when Black women were trying to lighten their skin. And ay. That's a whole nother, oh my God,
topic.
Yeah, because there's an episode of Them where the daughter, they were living in East Compton, and which at the time I think it was the late 50s, it was all white. So she was at an all white school. And one of the scenes shows her taking a bucket of white paint and putting it all over her face and on her hair because she wanted to be like the others. It was
what was it called?
Them.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
That it's on Amazon Prime, and it is intense. It's all about race, but it's done so in a very, starting to bring out my my SAT vocabulary, protracted, kind of extreme, very extreme. Well done, very well done, but intense. And
I'll have to see that.
Yeah, you can only do like, I couldn't watch it. I couldn't binge watch it because it was just so intense. It's not like something you can just sit back and chill and watch at the end of the day, because you're gonna be like this. You're gonna be like punching. But it's so good. Oh my God, it's good. So for sure, if you like what we're doing here on the radio, we're not on the radio, please subscribe.
Say subscribe.